Rain slicks the cobblestones of Paris. Streetlights flicker like dying stars. The night hums with jazz, a heartbeat beneath the city's skin. Inside a smoky nightclub, the crowd leans forward, breath held, waiting. Then, she appears. A young black woman, barely 20, wrapped in feathers and gold, her skin glistening under a single spotlight, her smile defiant, her eyes alive. The drums hit, the trumpets scream, and she moves like lightning wearing silk. Every step, every twirl, every laugh says one thing: I am free. The audience doesn't know whether to cheer or gasp. Champagne flutes freeze midair. Men in tuxedos, women in pearls, staring at her as if the universe itself just took human form. She spins faster. The skirt of bananas around her waist shakes like laughter turned into rebellion. It isn't just a dance, it's an uprising. And in that instant, Paris stops breathing. Because no one has ever seen anything like her. A black woman commanding the heart of Europe. A body the world once mocked, now worshipped. They called her Josephine Baker. Born in the slums of St. Louis. Once told she'd never belong anywhere. Now, Paris belongs to her. But fame is never just applause. Behind the spotlight, shadows stir. Whispers of envy, desire, politics, race. And as the crowd erupts into thunder, somewhere deep inside her, a question rises. What will it cost to be seen as human in a world that loves you as an idea? Because tonight, Josephine Baker conquered Paris, but soon she'll discover what it means to conquer herself. A little girl in St. Louis, barefoot, spinning in the dust of a back alley. Her laughter mixes with the sound of a passing train. The world around her is split by invisible lines, ones she isn't allowed to cross. Colored only. 2 words that follow her everywhere, carved into signs, stares, and silence. The year is 1910. America is a nation divided by color, by fear, by the weight of history that refuses to let go. On the streets of St. Louis, survival isn't a story, it's a performance. And Josephine Baker? She learns early that performance can save her life. Picture her, just 8 years old, dancing on street corners for pennies. Her knees scraped, her clothes torn, but her eyes alive. Every spin earns her a coin, every smile a second chance. The city watches. Some laugh, some look away, but she keeps dancing. Because when she dances, the world listens, if only for a moment. Inside her tiny home, she watches her mother scrub floors for white families, listens to her father's absence echo through the walls. And at night, she presses her small hands against a cracked window and whispers to herself, "There's gotta be more than this." Outside, the rhythm of the South begins to shift. Jazz is being born, in smoky rooms, in secret clubs, in the heartbeat of Harlem. Music becomes rebellion, joy becomes protest. And somewhere, Josephine feels that same rhythm pounding inside her chest. It's untamed, it's dangerous, it's freedom, if only she can reach it. Fast forward, she's a teenager now. She joins a vaudeville troupe, performing for crowds that cheer her, then spit on her as she leaves the stage. They love her when she's laughing. They hate her when she stands still. Every performance, she bends herself to their expectations. Too white for her own people, too black for their approval. A ghost caught between applause and humiliation. But she learns. She studies faces, reads every silence, turns shame into strength. Because Josephine Baker discovers something most never do. The world only gives power to those who take it, and she plans to take it all. Then, one night backstage, she overhears a whisper. A French producer looking for new talent for a show in Paris. The word hits her like a promise. Paris. To most, it's a dream. To her, it's oxygen. A place where color means culture, not chains. Where art isn't a weapon, it's worship. She stares at a crumpled postcard of the Eiffel Tower she once found in the trash. Her fingers trace the image like it's a doorway. And in her mind, she's already there, dancing under golden lights, her laughter echoing through the city of freedom. But the truth is, dreams are fragile things. They break under the weight of the real world. And for a young black woman in 1920s America, the real world never lets you go easily. So when Josephine boards that ship to France with nothing but a tattered suitcase, a few costumes, and an unshakable belief that she's meant for more, she isn't just leaving home. She's escaping gravity itself. And as the ocean swallows the horizon behind her, she smiles, whispering to the waves, "They'll remember my name." What she doesn't know is that freedom, the kind she's chasing, always comes with a price. And Paris is about to show her just how high that price can be. A train whistles through the French countryside, smoke curling against a rising sun. Inside, a young woman stares out the window, eyes wide, heart pounding. The air smells different here. The faces are different too. No colored-only signs, no walls, no fear. Just possibility. It's 1925. Paris. The city hums like a heartbeat. Cafes spill onto cobblestone streets, filled with poets and painters arguing about art, politics, and revolution. Jazz drifts through the night air, wild, improvised, electric. And into this restless, reckless world walks Josephine Baker. 19 years old, barely speaking French, a suitcase full of costumes and courage. The girl from St. Louis has arrived in the capital of freedom. The posters go up, La Revue Negre, a celebration of the exotic. The title alone tells her what they expect. Something savage, something primitive, something not quite human. But Josephine doesn't flinch, because she knows how to take the cage they give her and dance her way out of it. Opening night. The theater lights dim. The crowd murmurs, diplomats, writers, artists, aristocrats. A hush falls. And then, drums. From the shadows she emerges, barefoot, bejeweled, a grin that burns through the dark. Her body moves like music set free from its prison. Every twist, every leap is a rebellion in motion. She doesn't just perform the rhythm, she becomes it. The audience gasps. They came expecting spectacle. They're witnessing a storm. Josephine Baker, the girl who once danced for pennies in the streets, now commands the stage of Paris. Men forget to breathe. Women lean forward, mesmerized. In a single performance, she does the unthinkable. She rewrites the script of what a black woman could be. Picasso sketches her furiously from the front row, calling her a living masterpiece. Hemingway writes about her glow. Jean Cocteau whispers, "Josephine is not a woman, she is a revolution." And maybe she is. Because in a Europe still haunted by its colonial ghosts, Josephine Baker is turning fantasy into firepower. They may stare at her as an exotic dream, but she makes that dream hers. They think she's playing into their myth. She's dismantling it, one dance at a time. Offstage, Paris embraces her like no one ever has. Fashion houses dress her. Artists immortalize her. Crowds chant her name. For the first time in her life, she's not an outsider. She's the center of the world. But late at night, when the lights go down and the applause fades, another sound echoes in her mind. That old St. Louis wind. She remembers the streets. the hunger, the faces that looked away. And she wonders, what exactly are they cheering for now? Is it her they love, or the fantasy of her? Because behind every cheer hides a contradiction. The same people who call her goddess whisper savage. The same ones who worship her body still refuse to see her humanity. And Josephine feels it, like a crack beneath the music. Still, she keeps dancing. Because in that movement, she's invincible. Every step says, you can stare, you can label, but you will never own me. Night after night, she conquers Paris. Her name lights up billboards. The girl who fled America's cruelty becomes Europe's queen of freedom. But freedom is fragile. It glitters in the spotlight, then vanishes in the dark. So as the audience rises to their feet once more, roaring her name, Josephine smiles, but only with half her heart. Because deep down, she knows applause is a fickle kind of love. And the same crowd that crowns her tonight could break her tomorrow. And that question lingers in the smoke of the stage lights. How long can a woman of color dance for a world that loves her for all the wrong reasons? Spotlights blazing, cameras flashing, the roar of a crowd that sounds like thunder rolling through a golden Paris night. And in the center of it all, Josephine Baker. Draped in diamonds, draped in fame. The poor girl from St. Louis has become the most desired woman in Europe. Everywhere she goes, chaos follows. Cafes stop mid-conversation when she enters. Designers beg to dress her. Men fall at her feet, whispering promises in French, English, Italian. Women copy her style, short hair slicked, curves celebrated. For the first time, a black woman is not hidden behind the curtain. She's the curtain, the show, the spectacle. Newspapers call her the Black Venus. They say she dances like thunder wrapped in silk. Paris can't get enough. But the truth is, fame has two faces. One beautiful, one brutal. Behind the cheers, the whispers begin. She's not refined. She's primitive. She's just a curiosity. Words dressed as compliments, daggers disguised as applause. They cheer her for the same stereotypes she thought she escaped. They want the wildness, the fantasy, not the woman beneath it. Still, she smiles, always smiling. Because Josephine learned early, if they're laughing, you're safe. If they're watching, you matter. So she plays her role perfectly. The goddess, the clown, the queen of feathers and freedom. But when the curtain falls, silence hits harder than applause ever could. Picture her in a luxury hotel room at midnight, a crystal chandelier above her, the city glowing below. And yet, she's alone. No laughter, no music, just the hum of emptiness. The phone rings, a lover's voice, smooth as champagne. Sweet words, empty promises. Tomorrow, he'll belong to someone else. Fame is a love affair that never calls back. The world adores Josephine Baker, but only the version that fits their fantasy. The laughing showgirl, the untamed muse, the exotic beauty. They love her body, not her truth. They love her story, not her scars. Still, she smiles, always smiling. Because Josephine learned early, if they're laughing, you're safe. If they're watching, you matter. So she plays her role perfectly. The goddess, the clown, the queen of feathers and freedom. But when the curtain falls, silence hits harder than applause ever could. Picture her in a luxury hotel room at midnight. A crystal chandelier above her, the city glowing below. And yet, she's alone. No laughter, no music, just the hum of emptiness. The phone rings, a lover's voice, smooth as champagne. Sweet words, empty promises. Tomorrow, he'll belong to someone else. Fame is a love affair that never calls back. The world adores Josephine Baker, but only the version that fits their fantasy. The laughing showgirl, the untamed muse, the exotic beauty. They love her body, not her truth. They love her story, not her scars. One night after a show, she catches her reflection backstage. The makeup still perfect, the jewels still shining, but her eyes tired, searching. And she whispers to herself, "Who am I to them?" Because fame for Josephine is both crown and cage. The higher she climbs, the lonelier it gets. She's surrounded by people, but starved of being seen. Outside, the city chants her name. Inside, she removes her costume piece by piece, like shedding armor. The feathers fall to the floor, the glitter fades, and what's left is just a woman, bare, breathing, human. But there's no audience for that. No applause for honesty. Only the echo of her own heartbeat trapped inside the myth she built to survive. And as the lights dim on another triumphant night, Josephine stares out the window at the Paris skyline and realizes something chilling. The city she conquered doesn't truly know her. Maybe it never did. Because when the curtain closes and the applause fades into the dark, Josephine Baker is left with the one thing fame could never take away: silence. The silence of her own myth. And in that silence, a question lingers. If the world only loves the mask, what happens to the woman underneath? The lights of Paris flicker out. What was once laughter and champagne is now silence and boots. The city that once adored Josephine Baker has fallen under a shadow. The Nazis have arrived. But Josephine doesn't run. She transforms. The feathers, the sequins, the music, gone. In their place, forged papers, coded notes, danger. The stage that once held her spotlight now hides her secrets. The one who once danced for kings now spies on Nazis. It begins quietly. A whisper in a hotel lobby. A coded phrase hidden in a love letter. A song performed before German officers. Her smile concealing the truth written between the lines of her sheet music. Every note a message. Every performance a mission. Josephine becomes one of France's most daring agents of the resistance. She travels across borders under the guise of a touring star. Music sheets filled with invisible ink, carrying intelligence for Allied forces. Her fame becomes her disguise. Her beauty, her weapon. One night, she's cornered at a checkpoint. A soldier demands to search her luggage. She laughs, charming, effortless. "Darling," she says in perfect French, "surely you don't suspect me?" He doesn't. He lets her pass. And just like that, secrets that could change the war's course glide through the enemy's hands. But behind every smile, fear lives quietly. At her estate in the south of France, she shelters refugees, Jewish families, fellow resistance members, anyone hunted by the Reich. She hides them under the cover of music rehearsals and garden parties. Guns are hidden under tablecloths, maps under pianos. Outside, Gestapo patrols roam the countryside. One wrong step, and everything ends. There's a night when Josephine hears engines in the distance, German trucks. She gathers her guests, whispers, "Stay quiet, breathe slowly." The lights go out, the footsteps pass. They survive. Barely. She writes later, "I was not afraid to die, I was afraid of being silent." Because for Josephine, this was no longer a performance, it was purpose. From stages to secret missions, she gave everything she had to fight for France, the country that gave her freedom when her own had not. She carried messages across borders, risking arrest, torture, execution. And yet, she never stopped smiling. Never stopped believing that art, love, and courage could defeat hate. When the war finally ends, Paris erupts in joy. Josephine is celebrated as a war hero, decorated with the Croix de Guerre and Medal of Resistance. The crowd cheers once again. The spotlight returns. But behind her radiant smile, a new shadow waits. Because while Europe finally honors her, another world, her own homeland, still refuses to. The war is over, but Josephine Baker's greatest battle is only just beginning. Paris, 1945. The war is over. The city is alive again. Lights, laughter, freedom. And standing at the center of the celebration is Josephine Baker, draped in the colors of France. Charles de Gaulle pins the Croix de Guerre to her chest. Applause erupts. Cameras flash. The woman who once danced in feathers now wears medals of honor. The spy, the hero, the legend. She smiles, radiant, grateful, because finally she believes the world will see her for what she truly is. Not just a performer, not just a symbol, but a woman who fought for liberty. Then she boards a ship back to America, back to the country that birthed her, broke her, and forgot her. She dreams of a triumphant homecoming, of headlines that say, "Our daughter returns a hero," of standing ovations, of redemption. But what she finds is different, colder, crueler. Hotels refuse her a room, restaurants refuse a seat. And when she steps onto an American stage, protesters wait outside, holding signs that spit her name like venom. Go back to Paris. She's not one of us. Imagine that moment. A woman who risked her life carrying secret messages past Nazi guards, now told she can't use the same bathroom as her audience? One night, mid-performance, she stops. The music fades. The band freezes. Her hands tremble. And in front of thousands, Josephine Baker breaks. Tears run down her face, mixing with makeup and light. "I risked my life for freedom," she whispers. "And still, I'm not free." The crowd falls silent, because truth cuts deeper than any song. Days later, she's called to speak, not to perform, but to testify. Before reporters, senators, and skeptics, she stands tall, voice steady. "I have walked into palaces and slept in barns," she says, "but never have I been treated so poorly as in the country of my birth." Her words hit like thunder. The room can't breathe. And for a moment, just one, the world seems to listen. But fame is fleeting. Justice is slow. And as applause fades once again, Josephine realizes something haunting. What happens when your own country refuses to see your victory? The question hangs in the air, unanswered, heavy, and painfully human. A quiet French countryside, a grand chateau wrapped in sunlight, its windows wide open to the laughter of children. Not an audience this time, not applause, just joy. Inside, Josephine Baker walks barefoot across marble floors, her arms full of toys, her heart full of purpose. Around her, 12 children, each from a different corner of the world. Black, white, Asian, Jewish, Muslim, Christian. Each one a different story, but now one family. She calls them the Rainbow Tribe. Because Josephine Baker isn't just raising children, she's raising a vision of the world that doesn't yet exist. You can almost hear it. Laughter spilling out into the garden. Flags from every nation fluttering in the wind. A chorus of languages blending like a song no one's ever heard before. Visitors arrive from all over just to witness it. Journalists, diplomats, dreamers. Some call it utopia, others madness. But Josephine, she just smiles. "If the world can't change," she says softly, "then I will build my own." And for a while, she does. Her home becomes a living monument to unity. Children of different races playing side by side in a world still divided by hate. A mother, not by blood, but by belief. But behind that laughter, reality waits. The war hero is aging. The spotlight has dimmed. And the same world she once dazzled now turns away. Money runs out. The chateau falls into debt. There are nights she sells her jewelry just to keep the children fed. Nights when the same France that once crowned her a hero forgets her name. Still, she refuses to give up. She performs again, older now, slower, but still magnetic. Each show a fight to keep her dream alive. And even when her body begins to fail her, her spirit never does. Then, one April night in 1975, Josephine Baker takes her final bow. A standing ovation in Paris, her city, her first true love. Days later, she's gone. The crowds that once cheered her dance now line the streets for her funeral. Thousands gather, flags wave, soldiers salute. France buries her with full military honors, its highest tribute. The woman America forgot, Paris remembered forever. Because Josephine Baker wasn't just a dancer or a spy or a star. She was proof, living, breathing proof, that love could be a revolution. And as the last notes of the piano fade, her words linger like a whisper through time. We all have the same heart, it just beats in different colors. But even now, decades later, one question remains. Did the world she dreamed of ever truly arrive? Or are we still dancing toward it in her shadow? A stage, a heartbeat, a legacy that never stopped dancing. Flash forward. Beyoncé in glittering gold, channeling the same fearless energy. Rihanna walking runways with the same defiant grace. Crowds chanting through the streets, Black Lives Matter signs held high. Rainbow flags waving in the wind. Every shout, every drumbeat, every movement for freedom, echoing the rhythm of one woman who dared to be more. Josephine Baker. She wasn't just a performer. She was a revolution in skin and song. A woman who turned prejudice into poetry. Who made her body a statement, her voice a weapon, her life a story the world could never erase. Even decades after her final bow, her influence lives everywhere. In every artist who refuses to be boxed in. In every protest that demands equality. In every person who chooses love over fear. The feathers, the laughter, the glamour, that was just the surface. Beneath it all was fire, a heartbeat that refused to be silenced. They tried to cage her. They tried to shame her. They tried to write her out of history. But you can't silence rhythm, and you can't bury truth. Because Josephine Baker's heartbeat became the sound of freedom, a rhythm that still echoes through generations who keep dancing, marching, believing. And maybe, just maybe, we haven't learned after all. Fade to black. A whisper, soft but certain. Remember her name.